Welcome to GApps Trainer, home of Google Apps Training. This session is for Google Apps Mail Overview. Let's get started. Here's an example of what email looks like within Google Apps. At the top, it looks very similar. Actually, the whole screen looks very similar to Gmail if you're familiar with it. If you are familiar with it, this is a very quick overview for you. If you're not familiar with Gmail nor this email interface, then this will be valued to you. Here we go. In the upper left-hand corner, we have a start page, mail, calendar, documents, sites, and video links as shortcuts to the other portions of the of your Google Apps. Towards the center and to the right, we have the account, which is your email address. To manage this domain, that only displays if the account that you're signed in as is also the administrator for Google Apps. To the right of that, you have a little icon that represents Labs. We'll discuss that in a moment. Settings, that is for your Google Apps mail setup. Older version, that's for if you don't want the latest, greatest base code that makes up the Google Apps mail, then you can revert back to a previous version. Then you have a help and sign out feature. To look for mail, you have a search box where you can type in anything that you desire. You can look for anything that says, let's say, Google, and click the Search Mail button. When you do so, you'll see a list of email that returns from your search criteria. From this list, you can do whatever you would like, or if you want to go back to the inbox, just click on Inbox. You can also use the search box to actually search the web as well, where you simply click Search the Web instead. Over towards the left is somewhat of a navigation section. At the top, you have Compose Mail. This is where you create your new emails. Then you have an inbox where all the incoming mail is listed. That's the default. You have starred, show me all the emails that are starred, which is something that you do. You have something called chat. Sent mail is here. If you have any mail that you started but did not finish, it's drafts. All mail shows all the email and all labels or folders. Spam shows you any email that came into your email box that considered spam. You can review that, report it as spam, delete it forever, whatever. Trash is a list of email that you decided to delete, and you can empty it here as a second precaution. You don't have to delete it. You can return it back to the inbox. Then we have contacts. Contacts is the section where Google Apps and Gmail itself will try to, on its own, to create accounts and put them in appropriate labels. But you can also upload contacts. You can maintain contacts. You can delete. You can add groups and so forth. We'll cover that in a later section. This section is also for chat. The Google Calendar and Google Docs down below here, that's lab-related beta versions, and I'll click that to expand to Google Calendar. As you see, it's a brief look at any calendar setup that you have. And if you toggle that again, it disappears. And same thing with Google Docs. That's part of the lab work, which we'll get into. Let's go back up to the inbox by clicking on the inbox icon, or the link. Now, in the middle section, you also have where a lot of the activity occurs. At the top here, in this example, where it says Fox News, this is known as a web clip, where you can define what types of information you like displayed at the top. You can forward it to the next one if you like. Then we have an archive button. The archive button is something that Google highly recommends. Let's explain this a little bit. To get rid of all the email displayed within the inbox section of your screen, you should archive messages. Let's define what archive means. Archive, what it does not mean, it does not delete anything. It simply stores it off the screen and in behind storage, if you will. Now, you could simply check mark what you would like archived and then click the archive button. Or first, you may want to say, well, I would like to store this within a label, which we'll talk about soon. And once it's stored in the label, then you can archive it. Then when you want to retrieve that message, you can either go up to the search box and type in the email that you vaguely remember perhaps and you do a search. Or you come over to the label section, which is over here. Let's talk about the label section now. In the label section, I guess comparing this with other products, you'll have folders with other email products. Folders is a way to store email into a certain category or folders. And one of the problems or challenges with that method is a lot of your email, like Outlook for example, you have to decide this email goes to what folder. In some instances, you may say, well, this email could go into more than one folder. My goodness, it could go into 3 or 4 or 5 different folders. Well, labels, what Google has done, it has created labels, and that takes care of that problem. So if you have an email that belongs to more than one category, you just assign more than one label. It's kind of like assigning labels to the email. Now, as far as the rest of the content of the middle of the section here, you'll have a select all, none, read, unread, starred, and unstarred. Basically, this is a way to do activity with the listings of your email. Let's demonstrate. If I choose to click this box at the top of my email, I can now click delete to delete that and go into the trash. Or I could select more actions. What is more actions? Well, you can mark the email as unread, remove the star, filter messages like these, which we'll get into, mute. You can apply a label or create a new label. And by checkmarking that, you can also report an email that you know is spam by clicking report spam or again clicking the archive button. The selection, if you click all, will checkbox every single email listed on your page. And it may ask you if you want to do the other pages listed. None is to remove those. Click is click or select all those that have been read. Select all those that have not been read or unread. Any starred ones, any unstarred. Go back to none. At the bottom section is duplicate of archive report spam. This is for the convenience for the application. Also at the bottom you'll notice that you are currently using blank megabytes of your blank megabytes. Basically in this case, if you're a Premier Edition, you have a huge amount of storage, 25,600 megabytes of storage. This is showing me that I haven't even reached 1% worth of that capacity. Pardon me. It has other pertinent information at the bottom as well. Underneath settings, if we go up to the top right-hand portion, you see the word settings. Let's click on settings. Settings is where we have a general tab, accounts tab, labels, your filters, forwarding, chat setup, the web clips I mentioned, any certain gadgets, and labs. We'll talk more about this in details in other training sessions. This is where you would go to do your setting changes. And then at the bottom, you'll have a save changes or cancel. This concludes the mail overview for Google Apps. Thank you.